EDL 853 Case Study, Module 13. Zan working. Dr. Clay, thank you for this class. It's been very challenging, but a very rewarding class, so thank you for that. And hopefully I don't lose my recording this time. All right. Summary. Nottingham High School, Dover Unified School District. It's where Miguel Hernandez was a starting sophomore quarterback. He was injured in a playoff football game. And that injury is paralyzed from the waist down and now has to use a wheelchair. He returned to school after a lot of hard work and rehabilitation. And his parents met with the counselor a couple weeks before he returned to school just to say that all he needed was access for his wheelchair. The day he returned, after a big ceremony for him, he was told to go to the counselor's office, and she told him he was unable to take his biology class because of an inaccessible room. But he needs that class to go to college, so a college qualified science course. And then his parents brought a lawyer in and said that they violated his rights and he deserves that class. Legal issues. The school failed to provide an equitable access, a Section 504 violation. It's illegal to discriminate against an individual with disability who was discriminated against for not even getting the class because he's in a wheelchair. Makes no sense. And one of my questions is, has this issue come up about access to classrooms before? Because I can't believe nothing's come up before, because certain classes kids just cannot take. Miguel and his parents should have been notified about the change in the schedule, and the school should never have just sprung it on the day he showed up. He's worked hard to get back, and this is how they repaid him, by changing everything. Just some very, very poor communications. Synthesize this, I'd say Miguel is not receiving access to an appropriate education because he needs a wheelchair, and the only offering of his science class is not accessible. So that is definitely not a good thing. Let's see if we can fix this for him. The people involved, we got Miguel, of course, a sophomore football player, his parents, me, the principal, Miss Gussman, the high school counselor, Miguel's attorney, Howard Carey, and Dr. Harvey, the superintendent. The place we talked about is Nottingham High School in Dover Unified School District. It's a district that serves about 3,200 kids, but the school was built back in 1950, and a quarter of the school building is still not up to code in terms of state and federal standards required to accommodate individuals with disabilities. That's where we run into this problem. The programs are excellent, and the service is excellent. It's a very supportive community. Outstanding school and the state directory, and the successful football program. That was some of the main reasons why Miguel's family brought their children to Nottingham High School, so they can be involved in this school and in the football program. Here's some questions that I have about this. I'm not sure if this is appropriate, but this is some things that I would have wanted to know. I mean, did Miss Gussman make this decision on her own just to make it simple? Was I even notified or consulted in this decision? Or the teachers, the biology teacher? Did Miguel gain a 504 plan because of his injury, and was it even written down? I don't know if it has to be. I don't think it does not have to be written down, but it definitely pretty easy to know what he needed. Was the science department met to find out ways to help Miguel get a proper science course? Because they should be notified, especially the teacher that had him. And why weren't the parents notified of this? This is just strange, if you ask me. Alright, what are the priorities? I think there's a lot of damage that could be done. The credibility of the school through the community. If they find out about how they treated Miguel, who gave his part of his life to play football for them, I think that the teachers, the counselor, especially the principal, that could definitely be a damage to what's going on. Of course, Miguel. It's just not good. This is just something that has to be remedied soon. I think all students, they deserve a free, appropriate public education. If they can't get it just because of a disability, then something's a little wrong in that community. And I don't think this school is like that. I think they have a highly supported community, a great football team. People are involved, and let's keep them involved by doing the right thing. I think the principal and the counselor did not look out for the well-being of educating all students. It's a violation of the ADA. Just because they have a disability doesn't mean they are limited in what they can do. And then have they consulted? I think there's a couple things, like the teacher, the biology teacher definitely should be consulted, but also the superintendent. He needs to be brought in and talk about some of these issues and get some money in there to get this fixed. Maybe not right now, but by this summer. And we have to change the classroom. We have to communicate with the teacher, of course, the students, and then maybe the parents. It's not a huge deal to change the class setting, so we just have to do that if we happen to change the classroom. I think there's so much lacking communication here. Parents should have been told early about what the problem was, and maybe that would have straightened this out before Miguel showed up. We need to appropriately educate all students. Did they look at any options, or did they just take the easy way out? And I think I do have enough to make a decision on this, at least a decision that we can try to present to Miguel's family and Miguel to make it, to remedy this situation, excuse me. And what are our options? Option 1, take no changes and take no action. So you don't change the student schedule, you make him just stay with what we told him, you don't fix the accessibility classroom issue, he takes a different science class, and we handle the challenge of the lawsuit by the attorney. Option 2, we can change the science class, or we can update the school until all classrooms are accessible. I say some intermediate ones. We can offer a different science course, we can move the biology class, we can maybe do an online class or have him take it next year. Here's some other options that we would encounter. I'd say in option 1, the pros are, it's just easy, I guess. There's so many cons. Financial burden for the school, they could be sued, distrust by the community, Miguel does not receive an appropriate education, we could lose some funding. So there's a lot of cons in that. Option 2, I think we would fix the accessibility problem, not just for students, but also for staff. But I think the cons are we don't have the finances, it'll take too long, you can't displace those kids while you're working right now. Some of the intermediate actions that we could provide, I think the pros are he gets the education he deserves, and it's something that we can do. Now, I think it takes a little work on our part. The cons are his family might not be satisfied. We might have to move students, teachers. There's a little bit of change there. And then maybe that online course will not be as good as a regular course, which I think is true anyway. What option would I choose? I would choose the intermediate actions. I think with the way we treat Miguel and his family, especially after such a traumatic incident, we need to give them a choice and a voice in this situation. They need to feel like they have some control also. Let them know we are in the process of raising funds to update the school, but in the meantime, we have options for Miguel's situation. Number 1, we can move the entire class to a new classroom that is accessible, so he can take biology. Option 2, we can allow Miguel to take an online biology course paid for by the school. And number 3, we can allow Miguel to take science next year. It will make sure that we will be accessible for him. So those are some of the options that I've come up with for the family. Give them a voice. Give them some power in this. How do we implement it? First, I want to set up a meeting with myself, the counselor, the science chair, the special education chair, and even I think the biology teacher would be important to have in this. And just make sure we've covered all of our bases of the options I presented. And we'll give Miguel and understand we will do whatever it takes to satisfy the family and the requirements to get him to college. We have to understand there's a risk in our plan, and it will affect our school. I mean, if it goes wrong, we've already affected our school just in this decision. Let's not compound that. And we want to make sure we have a classroom available if they decide to move. Have them move the class so he has access to it. Or if it's online, we want to make sure that is ready. We have all the information that's ready and relevant for them to understand what he gets if he chooses that. Or have the counselor just show that how Miguel will be on track to go to college before each option. So once we meet we're going to do the same thing and get all these questions answered and any more that we might have. Then we'll meet with Miguel and the parents and show them. We want to explain the options and explain that we are sorry. We made a mistake. We didn't handle this correctly. And we as a school we did not look out for Miguel, and we need to now, and all students. If they do not like any of the options, we're kind of in a bind. We don't have the funds at this time to update the school or the time, but we will if we don't have other options at the time, but we are willing to listen to any requests they have. So if our options don't work, and I can't think of any others, and they have option, we'll listen to what they have to say. But we have to listen. We are bound by law. We are bound by finance. We're bound by building constraints. But our schedule, we can do what we can to move it, to make things work, so we don't upset everybody, but just to give Miguel the chance he deserves. Because we want to make sure he gets the proper classes, not just the science class, but all the proper classes that he needs to go to college. And once we've done that, I think we can meet the requirements. We need to just take things on a little more proactive instead of react to these situations, and make sure we communicate with our parents, all the stakeholders well, and not like we did in this situation. So I believe with the options we have given and the points, the voice we have given the parents with some power, and even understand that if they don't agree, that we will listen to what they say, that we have remedied this situation, that we can make Miguel feel like he is important again, because all students are important. All students have a voice in what we do in their education. All students deserve the best. Just because this young man, gave up half his body for the football team doesn't mean he should lose anything else, and that's going to be important. So that is my presentations, Dr. Clay. I thank you again for this class, and I hope you have a great year, and I hope COVID goes away soon. Thank you. Bye.